Big up to Crawley Eagle. Big up to Jay Toxic Fiery. And big up to Lumi Rain, as always. Guys, listen, I'm going to go through a couple of your chats just quickly. And then we're going to get into, a certain Bruno Fernandes. And then we're going to get into, obviously, the match yesterday, Man United and Everton. But big up yourselves. And as always, make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here. And make sure you guys smash the like button as well. And guys, keep clicking those emojis as well to get more people to come and view the channel. Just trying to build here, but big up yourselves each and every time. So Lumi says she watched the whole game and here are my takes. So Mbuemo and Cunha look dangerous and sharp. They will get a lot of goals given time. Yeah, I agree. But again, we will definitely get into a bit more on that afterwards. Shaw and Delo were not good together on that left side. Bruno Fernandes has surprised me by playing good the last few games, but he loses his head too easily. He was fighting as Everton scored. Again, I have my difference of opinions on that one, but again, we'll get into that in a minute. Mason Mount looked so good in time. He was on the pitch, back to his best, just needs to get fit. Topped it off with a lovely finish. Yeah, as I said, I'm gonna start off on Bruno Fernandes, and then we're gonna get into the performances for the team, because again, I've got my difference of opinion on there, and to be honest with you, I haven't been happy with the past 3 games against West Ham, Bournemouth, and now Everton. So yeah, we'll get into that. But guys, first and foremost, Bruno Fernandes, and this is a player for me, that. He divides opinion a lot. The majority of the fan base, like Bruno, the ones that have seen Bruno Fernandes for years, like myself, have had well and truly enough of this player, And again, I'm not going to go too much into it, but, there was a chance for Bruno Fernandes to be moved on and that money be reinvested into the squad. Again, Ruben Amorim, the club didn't do enough to force Bruno at the club, and ultimately now we're stuck with a player that's going to be turning 31 years of age come the season. And again, this manager is hell-bent on Bruno. He's going to shoehorn him into the team at any opportunity, which is going to be a detriment to the team, And I've been saying this for years now, and it's just getting boring. It's getting to a point now where I actually do believe that this club don't want to get better, because you hear so many people say Bruno Fernandes, is key to Man United. He's the best player. What I would say, if Bruno Fernandes is rated as the best player, there's a definite problem with Man United, because it kind of shows me which is where United are currently, and that is a bottom half of the table team. Even though, let's be honest, they shouldn't be. But when you've got someone like Bruno Fernandes at the helm of it, and he does divide opinion the way he does, and then people say he's the best player at the team, he's the best player in the team, is there any surprise why Man United are in the state they are? And again, a lot of it isn't down to Bruno Fernandes, but he is fundamental to why this team is failing. As a midfielder, he's ill-disciplined. His attitude stinks as well. And there's so many negatives to his game, which outweighs the pros, in my opinion. I think the pros, again, he is someone that does get numbers, but again, I'm not surprised why he gets numbers. The guy plays literally every game. As I keep mentioning, he's on every set piece, corners, penalties, free kicks. So there's no surprise in why he does get numbers, and he plays every minute of every game. So these things are not a surprise. The thing that I look at is, what does he actually do that's beneficial to the actual team? And the answer is not a lot, because if you look at him in possession, he plays hoofball, the majority of the time. The amount of times he gives the ball away is criminal. And when you've got a player like that in your team that just consistently gives the ball away, you are not going to play good football. It's a fact. And he's playing in an area as well of the pitch where you need your most talented players on the ball to get onto the ball and create. And he's been tasked with being that guy by Ruben Amorim, by the fan base, to be that guy to get onto the ball and make things happen. And the problem is, Bruno hasn't got the quality. You know, if you play him in the 10 position in this system, he isn't good in 1v1 situations and relies on runners. You know, this is why someone like a Garnacho and a Hoyland that we're playing is and a Rashford as well is ideal for Bruno, because Bruno hasn't got the ability to take on someone in the wider areas as a number 10, or if he's playing deep, and he relies on players to that are runners to basically get him out of a hole. You know, and the problem is with Bruno is that you playing him in central midfield where you're shoehorning him into the team. He's ill disciplined. You know, he's not really someone that can get his foot on the ball and start dictating the play. And then what he does, he just reverts to type, you know, when the game's going against United, and starts playing hoofball, giving it away. You know, so again, there's many problems with Bruno Fernandes, you know, in this team. And the fact that this manager is hell-bent on just shoehorning him into the team, again, I can see another season of what's going to come, you know, because throughout this whole preseason, I haven't seen not one difference. You know, I haven't seen any improvement. As we know, it's individual ability, individual quality that's going to win the games. But as a whole, you know, it's not been good at all. And the problem is, you know, I think one of the biggest problems we have now at Man United is that you've got Ruben Amorim and Bruno Fernandes as a duo. And I'm telling you this now, those two together are going to be a problem for United moving forwards, because you've got a manager that is hell-bent on not taking this guy off, that plays him at every opportunity. And then you've got Bruno Fernandes, who, let's be honest with you, he's when we look at it on the pitch, like, he's in charge of United when you actually think about it, because the guy just does whatever he wants. I've never seen a player at Manchester United with that amount of low-level ability being given the reins of one of the biggest clubs supposedly in the world. Like, he's just allowed to go and do whatever he wants. And he's been doing this for years. You know, people will point to the fact that Bruno got a penalty, even though he didn't win the penalty. And again, I didn't see the Mason Mount goal, but I think Bruno was the one that assisted him, you know. And again, people will point to the fact that Bruno, you know, got GA. And this is what the game's become now. He got GA, and all of a sudden now it's like, let's just turn a blind eye to his performances. So when Bruno's putting in the performances that he does, he's been doing this time and time again. Plays shit and then gets numbers. He does this consistently, you know. And the problem is that when is this gonna stop? When is as a manager gonna just realize that let's sacrifice Bruno's numbers to get an actual midfield player in the team and play better football? Because this team ain't going to play better football with Bruno Fernandes at it. Because as you can see, the way Bruno plays, he goes and takes the ball off everyone's toe. You know, the players literally give him the ball at every opportunity. Again, a player like that shouldn't be getting the ball, you know, at every opportunity, because he isn't that kind of level. And then the problem is that you're taken away from probably actual better talented players, because Bruno Fernandes is at the core of it, you know, and this has been done by this manager. So again, the fact that Bruno Fernandes come out after the game as well and starts talking about laziness and transfers and stuff like this, you see what it is, yeah, as well. And this is what I want to touch on. This whole lazy argument needs to stop, you know. Man United don't have a team that are lazy. It's a quality issue. You know, I don't believe any player goes out onto the pitch at Man United and says, look, we're not going to try. You know, we're not going to run. The problem is it's a quality issue, because you've got the majority of the team that haven't got quality in them. It's a fact. And you've got the guy that's at the core of the team that is not one of the best players in terms of quality. He's not. I've seen too many players to know that Bruno Fernandes isn't this player that a lot of these commentators, a lot of these fans think he is. He's not. And as I said, if people think that Bruno Fernandes is Man United's best player, is there any surprise why United are in the situation they're in? Because you've got a guy like that, that's the highest paid player, along with Casemiro, and he's at the core of the team. Like, he literally does everything. He's the captain. He's on every set piece. You know, he is the focal point of the team. And is there any surprise why the team are performing the way they are? You know, so as I said, this manager, and Bruno Fernandes together as a duo, they're gonna prove a massive problem for this club going forwards. And as I keep saying, as I said yesterday and previously, these 5 games starting off with Arsenal is what I'm going to be looking at, because so far, people might say, look, United won this summer series, but let's be honest. If United fans are happy with what they've seen over this pre-season, they're going to be in for a world of shock, because West Ham, Bournemouth, and Everton, the performances that I've seen, the way the team are playing, which is no different to last season, they're in for a world of shock, man. I'm telling you. I promise you this now, because I can already see what this manager's going to do. He's going to shoehorn certain players into the team yet again. Dallo, as we know, shouldn't be playing, but Dallow's going to somehow find himself into this team. I'm pretty sure of it. Or even if Dallo doesn't start, Dallo will definitely find himself getting more game time. Bruno, we just mentioned, he's going to find himself playing, and Mason Mount now. I know Lumi mentioned Mason Mount, but again, Mason Mount, if it was a case between Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes that played, I wouldn't be as pissed off. But to say Mason Mount and Bruno in the same team, like, I don't even want to see that happening. That's the truth. Because it's okay doing it against lesser teams, but, against the better teams in this league, that combination there ain't going to work. And the fact of the matter is, Mason Mount's on 250. I know Mason Mount's got a couple of goals as well, but Mason Mount's on 250 and he costs, what, 60 mil. So, and Amorim likes him. So is Amorim going to try and shoehorn him into the team as well? Which means what's going to happen to Mbuemo, Cunha, Ahmad? There's questions. Kobe Minu, there's question marks with this team, with this squad. And a lot of it is down to this manager. I know this manager wants to play free at the back, but let's be honest. This system is killing this team, because the midfield, as we know, is an absolute joke. But why not just play free in midfield? Why not go with free in midfield? But he wants to play this free at the back, this 3-4-2-1, the 2 number 10s. And there's an issue now, because you're now having to play Cunha and Mbuemo, which I'll get onto in a minute. Ahmad, I said about Ahmad the other day, Ahmad needs to be playing, closer to the goal. He spends half his time, especially in the wing back position, defending, and it's this system. Because if you play 4 at the back, as I said before, Ahmad can play as a 10 or play on the wing. And Ahmad will be doing most of his work going forwards. This system, we're seeing Ahmad as a wing back, and he's doing more defensive. He's doing more work going backwards than he is going forwards. And the guy of that quality should be on the front foot, creating and attacking with his team, which is not what's happening. So yeah, there's massive problems. As I said, Bruno Fernandes is at the heart of it. There's talks today that Al Nassr, or yesterday, that Al Nassr failed with an attempt to get Bruno Fernandes. And again, this whole talk about Bruno now going to Saudi is irrelevant now, because the chance was there for United as a club to really go in a different direction and move this player on, and they didn't do that. And now we're lumbered with a guy that's going to be shoehorned into the team by the manager. And let's face it, it's going to come to a point, and I can guarantee you this now, there's going to be fans that are going to be, during the season, they're going to be arguing with each other about Bruno Fernandes, and this is why the club have made a catastrophic error in keeping this guy. People will say his leadership, he ain't no leader. I've never seen a leader, where if he's not getting the ball, or if he loses the ball, I've never seen a player moan at his teammates or blame someone else the amount of times Bruno Fernandes does. He just blames everyone else but himself. And as I said, he ain't no leader. Leaders don't do that. And again, I can see throughout the season, it's only going to get worse, because Man United showed against West Ham, Bournemouth, and Everton, 3 teams that we're going to expect to be near the bottom half of the table. They won the summer series, but I was more interested in performances than results. And the performances over those 3 games, regardless of what the majority say, hasn't been good. And again, if people think that it's been acceptable for United to be putting in those performances, when they start struggling against the likes of, I'm not even going to mention Arsenal, City, and Chelsea, because I expect all 3 of those teams to give United a tough game anyway. But when they start going away to Fulham, and Burnley at home, and let's say out of those 2 games, United don't get a win, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised, because the amount of praise I'm hearing for this manager over this preseason is actually embarrassing, because it hasn't been good. I've watched all 3 games, and yeah, they've got positive results, but let's be honest with you, the performance has been shocking. Ain't been good at all. Well, I'll take it back. I wouldn't say shocking, but it hasn't been good enough. It's been nowhere near the level. And again, Everton ain't really a great team. Everton were much the better team against United yesterday. 100% much the better team. So again, it's concerning to see what I've been seeing over the last 3 games. Again, positive results, but performances over results any day. And as I said, when you've got a player like Bruno Fernandes, who's ill-disciplined the way he is, that what he done to Iliman NDI yesterday, again, is not surprising, because Bruno does this. The guy's got a stinking attitude, and to be honest with you, like, he could have caused Iliman NDI serious injury, because if you see where he was kicking him on his heel because he got past him, you know what I mean, he could have been a lot worse for NDI. And the fact that he turned around and started pushing Bruno, yeah, listen, you can see why he did that, because Bruno Fernandes has that petulance to his game, and a lot of people might say, look, he's a captain, he has to do that. But again, he's a liability in that sense, And let's not forget, guys, people want to tell you about Bruno getting GA all the time. He was at fault for both goals yesterday, He's defending on the back stick. Great finish from NDI, to be fair. And he's a very good player, Iliman NDI. Great finish, but Bruno was ball watching. And then all you hear is these commentators, I think it might have been Graham Lasseau, saying, why did Bruno find himself at the back post? No, listen, let's stop doing excuses for Bruno. At the end of the day, he was defending and he lost his man. Simple. You know what I mean? Let's just stop making excuses for certain players, because if that was a different player, like a Joshua Zirkzee, there's no way that these commentators are saying, why did he find himself there? They're saying he should have done a lot better. So, again, I don't want to be hearing no excuses for Bruno Fernandes. He lost his man, and that's it, And then the second goal, as we just mentioned, with his kick on Iliman NDI. Again, Bruno loses the ball in midfield because he's trying to be that guy to try and make things happen. Loses the ball, and then, again, Everton go up the other end and score. Own goal, I think, from Aiden Heaven. So, again, there's major concerns with this team, with this player, And as I said, Fiorentina coming up, and then, obviously, the league starts with Arsenal. And I have to be honest with you, I don't really know what's going to happen. What I can tell you is that we're going to see, again, a poor style of football, the same players playing. And yes, we're going to have to just be strapped in and just watch this manager fail this team yet again, because I'm predicting already the first 5 games. From what I've seen so far, I'm predicting 1 win. I'm going to say 1 win. Yeah, and that ain't going to be good enough, because I can't see United, based on what I'm seeing, based on what the manager wants to do. I can't see United beating Arsenal, City, or Chelsea. I would love them to beat Arsenal, but can I see it? I have to be honest, I can't. Fulham away is going to be tough, at Craven Cottage. That's going to be tough. And Burnley, you would expect them to win at home, because obviously Burnley are a newly promoted team. But again, can we be confident that United are even going to do that? Because again, from what I've seen over these 3 games, has been poor. And again, against Fiorentina, what is he actually going to do? Because is he going to play another strong team in his eyes? Because again, you're risking injury come the start of the season. Matthias de Ligt looks like he might be out for a couple of weeks. Who knows? But yeah, there's massive problems, man. But again, guys, Bruno Fernandes, massive problem for this team. Guys, big up yourselves. There's 27 of you in there. If you haven't smashed the like and you're enjoying the content, make sure you smash the like. Obviously, just press that button, guys. It's one hit of the button. Obviously, that will help the channel to be seen by more people. And again, if you haven't subbed to the channel, make sure you do. And again, if you disagree with what I'm saying about Bruno Fernandes, about the team, put that in the comments, you know, and I will definitely get back to your comments after. We're gonna discuss the performances of the team yesterday and where I see this team. And then again, as usual, I will definitely get back to your comments at the end. But yeah, big up yourselves, guys. So again, Man United drawing 2-2 with Everton, and you have to say, you know, in the end, I think it was probably a fair result. I think Everton, in terms of the football that was being played, edged it for me. I think, as we know, United start off, you know, first 5 to 10 minutes, they start off quite well. But then as the game goes on, yeah, it just reverts back to type, really. And again, Man United playing counter-attacking football is nothing short of an absolute joke, to be honest with you. And I've never seen Man United really, well, let's be honest. When Solskjaer and Mourinho was there, it was counter-attacking football, you know. And it's weird because we're becoming accustomed now to watching United playing counter-attacking football. Even with the new signings that have coming in, the way this team is set up is to play counter-attack. And this is what I'm trying to say to you guys. The fact that Bruno Fernandes is in this team, you're always going to play counter-attack football because Bruno Fernandes cannot control and dictate a game. Because what he does is that when he gets the ball and he's been given the license, he just wants to play Hollywood passes into the final third. And if he hasn't got a willing runner, he's just giving the ball away regularly. So yeah, it's a massive problem. But the lineup yesterday, you know, obviously he played Bryan there in goal. The back three of Luke Shaw, left side centre back, Matthias de Ligt in the middle, Lenny Yoro from the right. And then the two wing backs, Ahmad going back to wing back, which I don't like. Dorgu getting the rest, and then Dallo going left wing back. And again, he's just hell-bent on playing Dallo because if you want to keep a left-footed player, you know, on that side, why not give Diego Leon a game? Why are you putting Dallo as a left wing back when Dallo's right-footed for one, you know, doesn't play well as a wing back, but you just want to shoehorn him into the team because he has to play Ahmad, whether he plays Ahmad as a 10 or as a right wing back. You know, Mbuemo got his first start, which we'll touch on. Cunha obviously has to play as well, but you're going to play him up top and you're going to shoehorn Bruno into the team. And then you got to get Mainu and you're playing Ugarte. So again, he has to shoehorn Dallo into this team, which is what we all know. And then he plays Ugarte, Mainu in the midfield, Bruno left 10, Mbuemo right 10, and Cunha as the striker. Now, I'm going to go through a couple of players to start with the new signings, you know. I like Bryan Mbuemo. I do like him. And you can tell with a couple of touches that he was doing, you can see he's definitely got quality to this game. Again, the fitness is an issue, you know, which is expected. His first game of the preseason. And he's someone that once he gets his fitness up to speed, you know, you'll see a lot better Bryan Mbuemo. But from what I see, you know, some of the touches, some of the passing, you know, his quality is very high. So there's no worry in that sense. But again, a lot of it's going to be, you know, building relationships with the likes of Cunha, with the likes of Ahmad, even Xerxes I want to see as well. You know, it's going to be about building relationships and being on the same page. You know, there was a couple of times where, you know, I think Ahmad might have passed the ball to him and Mbuemo wasn't reading the pass, etc. So these things will come the more they're playing with each other more often. But from what I see of Mbuemo, he looked good. He did look good, you know, the touches and that. Again, the fitness was a bit of a worry, but that's to be expected. And as I said, the more games he gets, the better at Bryan Mbuemo we're going to see. Matthias Cunha. And guys, I did say this, I think, against West Ham. Matthias Cunha is going to get very frustrated with this team very soon. I can promise you that now. Because the kind of personality that Cunha has, you can tell he's kind of a fiery kind of player. And it's only going to take a couple of games where he's not on the same wavelength as a lot, or the players not on the same wavelength as him. He's not getting the ball. He's going to end up committing fouls, and you're going to see him getting very frustrated with his team. And again, you know, Cunha can play as a nine. He can, but the kind of player that he is, he needs to be facing the goal a lot more than playing with his back to goal. So he has to just play as a 10, and again, if you can play him as a 9 in certain games, it can happen. But when this manager wants to shoehorn Bruno into the team at every opportunity, you're going to see rotation with the likes of Cunha playing as a 9 or a 10. So I think people need to get used to the fact that Cunha's not going to be playing in the 10 as often as people would like. He will definitely be playing in the 9, because if you've got that midfield of Ugarte, Casemiro, Kobe Mainu, and let's say, well, no, Mason Mount be playing more forward, the manager's gonna be playing Cunha in the 9 and the 10, because he's got to justify his selection for Bruno. If you think Bruno's too ill-disciplined to play in that central midfield, But I think Cunha didn't have a great game. Again, you can see he was getting frustrated. His touch was off. He was losing the ball, misunderstanding as well. But again, Cunha is a good player. But again, just like Mbuemo, it's going to take time for him to gel with his team and get used to the way the team play. And as I said, I can see him getting frustrated throughout the season, because if the team consistently play the way they are, then it's only going to take a couple of games before he starts, flying off the handles. Like, it's to be expected, and you can't really blame him, because again, we've been seeing the way this team's been playing for a while now, and obviously he's a new signing, and he's going to find out very quickly that he's not going to be getting the ball in areas where he can do most damage. So, but yeah, I think Mbuemo and Cunha, as I said, they're two players that I like, but it's going to take a bit of time for them to gel into the team and understand what this team's been doing over the last couple of seasons. And they're going to find out very quickly, that they won't be getting as much as the ball as they should be getting as the new signings. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see, man, with them two. But I thought as a whole, Mbuemo, some good touches, but the fitness. But Cunha wasn't great. But again, it's still early days, so we'd expect obviously better performances in the future for sure. But again, Cunha's going to be starting, you'd believe, first game of the season against Arsenal, and Mbuemo should be starting as well. And let's hope that both players are firing come the first game of the season. But just going to from front to back, again, Bayindir in goal. Bayindir's not the answer. He's not a very good keeper. I think if he was to stay as a number 2, you're not really that fussed. Hopefully, he doesn't get as much game time, because again, there's not really no confidence with Bayindir. I mean, both the goals that was conceded. I mean, the own goal was kind of hard to blame him. The first goal from NDI was a great finish. So to be honest with you, he couldn't really do much on the goals, really. So you can't really blame him for that. But I think come the start of the season, you'd expect Onana to be there and Bayindir back on the bench. And who knows, Bayindir could actually move on if he feels that he needs to get more game time. So, yeah, it is what it is. The back three, if we start off from Lenny Yoro, for me, Lenny Yoro, again, another commanding display. I think there was a chance in the game where he made a great tackle. Who was it on? I think it might have been on Beto. Beto looked like he was going to pull the trigger. I think it was Beto. It was either Beto or Alcaraz. I can't remember. And I think with Lenny Yoro, as I said, Lenny Yoro's potential is high, and we expect Lenny Yoro to go on and be a regular starter as we know now that he is for the foreseeable future for United. And again, United, for me, need to count themselves very lucky that they've got a player of that level, for the kind of level that United are actually showing right now. So yeah, as I said, man, I'm very happy with Lenny Yoro, and again, some much needed game time. And again, the Fiorentina game, I would like to see him rested against Fiorentina and get him ready for the Arsenal game. So whether Amarim does that remains to be seen. But another solid display from Lenny Yoro. Matthias de Ligt, concerned as I said about the injury that he picked up. But again, Man United look better with de Ligt in that team. When he plays as the centre back, United look more composed. They look more solid at the back. The fact that he's got an injury, and again, when Maguire come on, he went to the right. The fact that he's now got an injury, I think we have to just hope that it's not a serious one, because I have to say, if Matthias de Ligt is out for any period of time again, United are in trouble, because Harry Maguire can do a job, but when it comes to a run-in, that United have coming up, can Harry Maguire sustain any sort of performance to keep out the kind of attackers that United will be coming up against in these next 5 games? So, listen, let's just fingers crossed that Matthias de Ligt the injury isn't too serious. Luke Shaw. Again, Luke Shaw having a Luke Shaw game. No frills and spills about his performance. But again, I'm sick and tired of the Luke Shaw history that he's been doing. As I keep saying, he gets injured. He plays well, gets injured, comes back. People start saying he should be in the team. And I'm not going to spend too much time on him. I think if he's someone that can come in and do a job and he's still there, then whatever, it is what it is, because the club have shown no appetite to try and get rid of Luke Shaw because of the money he's on. So there's no point even, debating whether Luke Shaw's going to be here or not. The facts are United are going to keep him, whether he's a backup or a first choice. And as I said, just be prepared that he will end up getting injured at some point in the season. But performance yesterday, yeah, I just thought he had an average performance. I don't think there was no one really that really stood out for me. Moving into midfield, Kobe Minu. I think Kobe Minu for me, I like Kobe Minu, but the fact that and I think the problem that Kobe Manu's having is that he seems to be the first guy that comes off. So when Kobe Minu starts, he's always, in Ruben Amorim's eyes, the first one to take off in midfield. And I think it's quite clear that Ruben Amorim doesn't really rate Kobe Minu. It's so obvious. And I think for Kobe's future, he has to be questioning himself under this manager, because by no means he wasn't worse than Ugarte. And again, we're going to get onto Ugarte. But Kobe Minu seems to be the fall guy, because the manager is hell-bent on playing Bruno. He likes Mount. And then when he starts Kobe Minu is the obvious one that he's going to take off. So I think for Kobe's career under this manager, his career under this manager is looking bleak. I'll tell you that now, because this manager clearly doesn't rate him higher than other players. I'll go as far and say, I reckon the manager rates Mason Mount more than Kobe Minu. And I think Kobe Manu's place in his team, I don't really see where it is. Can I see Kobe Minu starting against Arsenal first game of the season? He's not going to start. He's not. I can tell you that now, Kobe Manu's not starting against Arsenal. I'm 100% certain of that. Because I can see the team he's going to play. Bruno's going to play. It's whether he plays Bruno alongside someone in midfield or plays him in a 10. So Kobe's definitely not starting. And again, if I'm Kobe Minu, I'm questioning my my career going forward at this club under this manager. I thought bits and pieces of what he done, Kobe Minu, was good. But I keep saying it, this system is killing him. This 3-4-2-1 is absolutely killing him. And I think as long as this manager's here playing this system, expect Kobe Minu to not be to be stuttering in this season with his performances, because it's just not his fault, but this manager's not doing his confidence any good, playing him where he's playing him, and not giving him the license to play high up the pitch, and showcase what he's got. So yeah, I'd say an average performance for Kobe Minu, but again, I can see him getting game time against Fiorentina, but when it comes to the game against Arsenal, he'll be on the bench, definitely, Manuel Ugarte. Guys, let me tell you this now, yeah? Manuel Ugarte is a symptom of what I can't stand in football. You know, he is someone for me that has literally, if we're rating his quality out of 10, I'll go as far and say his quality is about 3. Like he offers absolutely nothing in possession in terms of ability. He's just there to break up play and give it to the better players, you know. And I'm thinking the amount that was spent on this player, you know, it really does show that like whoever sanctioned this signing needs to really look at what the hell was going on, because you don't spend that amount of money on Manuel Ugarte, and he quite comfortably doesn't start for Man United. Like he's nowhere near the level required, you know. And yesterday for the goal with Iliman NDI, he gets pushed off the ball. But again, he gets pushed off the ball because he's just not aware of his he wasn't aware really that someone was there for a start, which is concerning in that area of the pitch. And he just isn't press resistant. He just hasn't got too much to his game. And the problem is he's in this team purely because of his legs to break up play. And Man United need someone a lot better than that. You know, you need players in that area of the pitch that are comfortable on the ball, press resistant, you know, have the legs as well. But he's just purely in this team because he can get around the pitch. And the fact that he gave the ball away yesterday for Iliman NDI's goal, the combination between him and Bruno, you know, 2 players in this fan base hold up in high regard, Bruno and Ugarte, and they were at fault for the goal yesterday. You know, with Ugarte getting pushed off the ball and then Bruno not tracking his man at the back post. And again, Ugarte, you know, is he going to start the first game of the season? It wouldn't surprise me if Amorim does start him because of his legs, you know. But I'm telling you this now, going forwards, this guy is not a starter for Manchester United, you know. And he spent what? 55, 60 mil on Ugarte, and he's nowhere near good enough to be in this team, you know. And again, another poor display. I thought against Bournemouth, he actually was decent against Bournemouth, you know. But again, he just reverts back to type because he just isn't a good player. And as I said, I just don't know what's going to happen with him going forwards. That midfield area is a massive problem, you know. But it's been a problem. The fact that Man United haven't prioritised getting central midfielders because this manager, again, is hell-bent on Bruno, it just shows you that that this manager's way off. Because I like Mbuemo, I like Cunha, you know, I do like them as players. But that midfield area is a massive problem. It's a huge problem. Because you've got Manuel Ugarte, who's not good enough. Casemiro, as we know, you know, the manager plays a 2 in midfield and he's asking Casemiro to go and do something which he hasn't done in his career. And although Casemiro, Casemiro for me, his experience, his leadership is obviously there, but his legs in terms of what the manager wants him to do, he hasn't got, which is to be expected, you know. Toby Collier, again, the manager doesn't really trust. And Kobe Minu, you know, in this system is better as a 10. But this manager is hell-bent on playing this system. And when you've got a collection of midfielders like that, and again, he wants to shoehorn Bruno there, this midfield is gonna get ran throughout the season, you know. So the fact that 2 midfielders haven't been prioritised, you know, is concerning. And the thing is, the manager has to take criticism for that. You know, he has to. Because I don't believe the manager has gone into the season and hasn't said, like, this midfield needs to be, you know, it needs to be improved. You know, I keep saying about Carlos Baleba. I keep saying it. People are telling me 90 million. You don't know that unless you put a bid in. You know, you know what I mean? You could actually be surprised. The fact that there hasn't been any interest in Carlos Baleba is concerning, to say the least, because I wouldn't even mind if United said, look, we want Baleba, and they've put a bid in and the bid gets rejected. But people that are saying 100 mil, 90 mil, you don't know that because Brighton haven't come out and said that's how much he's going to cost. That's just speculation because of how much Moises Caicedo went for. You know, Brighton might turn around and accept 70 mil, 60 mil. You just don't know. But when you get people saying 90 mil, that's just speculation. No one's come out for sure and said that. So, but the fact that someone like that hasn't been prioritized with the quality that he has, and he offers literally everything that Man United need in that midfield is concerning, So, yeah, that midfield of Ugarte yesterday and Kobe Manu wasn't great. But again, we know this. We know it's not good enough. And it's a problem. Bruno, we've already touched on. Dallo, yeah, I think we touched on already. Dallo just shouldn't be starting. He shouldn't be. Left. I mean, the one thing Dallo done good yesterday was the interception from when Beto turned in the box and tried to get a shot away. That was a good block. But as we know, when this manager wants to play fullbacks in the wide areas, the team automatically are going to be defensive. And again, Dallo isn't good enough to play as the wing back in this system. He's more suited to playing as a right-sided defender. But again, this whole combination with Ruben Amorim, Bruno Fernandes, and Dallo is the reason why Dallo keeps starting games. And again, I agree. Dorgu could have done with a rest, but why not give Diego Leon a game? Why not try something a bit different? Give one of the youngsters who might be a winger in one of those wide areas. Try something different. Like we've seen Dallo play all too many times, and we know that Dallo isn't good enough to be playing as a wing back in this system. But this manager just doesn't seem. Well, this manager's incapable of just doing what's better for the team. When you're putting Dallo there, you're more or less playing five at the back. Like this is what it is. Amad Diallo, as I've already spoken about previously, Amad is United's most talented player. He's their most talented player, but he's doing doggies, literally playing wing back. He spends most of his time tracking back and defending. A player of that quality needs to be high up the pitch, and influencing the play in the final third. And you can see when Amad gets on the ball, there was times yesterday that Amad was giving it away, but it was more of a miscommunication. But when Amad gets the ball, the majority of the time, Amad shows a lot of quality. He very rarely loses the ball. He's got a very good level of intelligence when he's on the ball as well. Some of the reverse passes that he does, and he's just a very, very good player. But the fact that we've got to see him as a wing back, and the funny thing is, as a wing back, he's probably better as a wing back in this system, which is concerning, because I don't want to see him as a wing back. But in this system, he's probably better as a wing back because he's probably on the ball in the threatening areas more as a wing back. But the answer to this is just scrap this system, and play four at the back and get Amad more in the attacking phase, But I thought there was bits and pieces that Amad done well yesterday, especially on the ball. But yeah, as I said, man, seeing him at wing back in the system is frustrating. And again, is Amad gonna start the first game of the season? You would assume he should definitely start. But I think Patrick Dorgu's going to start, which means what happens with Dallo? Because if Dallo plays, he's going to play Dallo and Dorgu, which means Amad might find himself on the bench. Who knows? You can't really guess what this manager's going to do, because there's players that he wants to shoehorn into this team, and it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem to certain players that should be playing. So, yeah, who knows? Again, Mbuemo and Cunha we touched on. So, yeah, guys, what I would say as a whole, I was more interested in performances rather than the result. 2-2 yesterday. Obviously, Mason Mount came on and, again, another goal. But, I mean, Mason Mount, where's he going to figure in this team, man? He's not good enough to be a starter for me. But the price tag and the wage that he's on, yeah, like, it's going to be one of them things where this manager's going to try and force him in as well. So it's concerning. It's concerning. So on the whole, United winning the summer series, but I have to say personally, it's not been a good tour for me in terms of performances, and I think again, the fact that United have performed not too well against these kind of teams, when it comes to the Cities, the Chelseas, the Liverpools, You know, the Newcastles, even Tottenham, I'll say now as well. What's gonna happen? You know, like it's concerning, man. But I think there's a lot of there's more questions than answers for me about this team. You know, and again, one more game now before the start of the Premier League season. But yeah, it's gonna be concerning to say the least. Guys, big up yourselves. There's 19 of you in at the moment. Make sure we smash the like button, guys, if we're enjoying the content. And again, if you're new in here, make sure you sub to the channel. And guys, as always, make sure you check out my other content as well. And make sure you give a vote as well, guys, on the recent post that I've been doing. So I'm going to go through some of your questions. Big up yourselves each and every time. So Lumi says, Mbuemo and Cunha look dangerous and sharp. They will get a lot of goals given time. Listen, I have no doubt that Mbuemo and Cunha will score goals for this team. But I'm just more concerned as to where is Cunha going to play regularly? That's the first thing. You know, how are these guys going to build chemistry? Because the front three that I say is going to be better for United is seeing Xerxes as a false nine and then seeing Mbuemo and Cunha either side. You know, if United can build relationships like that in this system, then, you know, it will look better. You know, as you guys already know, I'm more seeing a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3, because I think that's what gets better out of a lot of these players. And again, someone like Amad Diallo for me has to play. But I think when you spent that money on Mbuemo, we have to look at Amad as a wing back, which is concerning in itself, you know. But I do think Cunha and Mbuemo will get goals for this team. But again, a lot of things need to be worked on. And what combinations is this manager going to go with? Because that's going to be important, you know. Lumi says Shaw and Dallo were not good together on that left side. Yeah, but they're not. They're not, because you're playing two defensive players on that side of the pitch. And as we know, this system, if you're playing the wing backs, this system needs to be playing wingers as the wing backs if you're going to get a more attacking team. When you're playing Luke Shaw left side centre back and Dallo, automatically you're going to be defensive because you're playing two fullbacks on that side of the pitch. So it's no surprise. It's no surprise there. So, but again, going forwards, if this coach thinks he's going to play those two moving forwards as the left side, then again, he's going to be in trouble, big trouble. And I think his favoritism of Dallo and Bruno is ultimately going to be his undoing, you know. So Bruno Fernandes has surprised me by playing good the last few games, but he loses his head too easily. He was fighting as Everton scored. Yeah, big up to Lumi, but Lumi, again, you know, the problem is, I think standards in football have gone to an all-time low, because what I would ask the question is, what do people judge as Bruno having a good game? Because that's what I want to know. Because Bruno Fernandes does this every week. You know, he'll play shit, but then he might get an assist, you know, or he might get a goal from the penalty spot. And he does this every game. You know, I'd much prefer Bruno having a good performance than him getting numbers. So I don't really know what people deem as a good performance, you know, because the amount of times this guy gives the ball away, you know, I'd argue that isn't a good performance, because no player playing in the 10 or playing as a central midfielder should be giving the ball away as often as he does. So I'd argue that fact, that he's played well, because he hasn't for me. You know, I've watched all three games and he's been average at best in all three. I think his worst performance was yesterday. The other two, he was average. But again, he's getting numbers which are making people think he's playing better than he has. So, yeah, Mason Mount, again, very touched on Mason Mount. Mason Mount for me is a non-story, really, because you when you've got the manager that is gonna play Bruno, and then you've got Cunha, Mbuemo, Amad, these guys all have to play in different for different reasons. Mason Mount doesn't figure, because you're not going to play Mason Mount as a central midfielder alongside if it's a Casemiro or a Ugarte, you know, or a Kobe Minu in there. So where does he actually figure? The only way I can see Mount getting into this team is off the bench, having an impact, and then it's going to mean the manager is going to be forced to drop You know, someone that he don't want to drop, and that's going to be either an Mbuemo, Cunha, or Bruno, which again I can't see happening. So again, it's going to be funny, man, because this Mason Mount signing is just looking worse by the day, really, because yeah, as I said, man, he definitely there is certain things about Mason Mount's game that people might like, but when you cost 60 million and you're on 250 grand a week, not only do we expect better performances, but he shouldn't be on the bench, really, being on that kind of money. But again, how's he going to figure into this team? Yeah, questions, man. Big up to Crawley Eagle. Big up, bro. Big up to Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team as well. Says, I saw the highlights and the own goal shouldn't happen at the elite level. Yeah, that was embarrassing, that own goal. I mean, again, Bruno Fernandes giving the ball away and then trying to kick out at Ilham and NDI. And then how United didn't clear the ball and it ends up in their back of the net is just, yeah, it's schoolboy football. But I think the grand scheme of things, you know, it's a friendly, you know, it wasn't in a cup game, you know, or a crucial league game. But the worry is, you know, these things shouldn't be happening, as Crawley Eagle was said, at the elite level, you know. So we have to wait and see. Big up to Broderick as well. And Crawley Eagle says Bruno needs to leave so United can rebuild properly. Bro, listen, like this should have happened about a couple of years ago. Like, and the fact of the matter is now, I'm bored of saying this because yeah, 100% Bruno should have left to have a better rebuild. But the fact that he's still here, it's just wasted breath now. And Ruben Amorim is gonna find out very quickly, you know, that this shoehorning of Bruno is gonna be his ultimate downfall. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see, man, what happens to the season because yeah, it's frustrating. So Cruel Eagle reckons Tottenham will finish bottom half again this season. I'm not too sure, man. I think Thomas Frank's going to surprise a lot of people. He's a very good coach, you know, and he's made some good signings, man. Kudus, Palhinha. I know Son's gone, but you'd have to believe they're going to go in the market and get someone that's going to replace Son, you know. James Maddison's obviously got that injury as well. So, yeah, listen, I can see Tottenham signing at least another 2 players, you know. I don't think Tottenham start the season without at least bringing in 1 player, and I think they might get 2. So I can see Thomas Frank, you know, having a decent season with him. Big up to the Chandy 98. Big up, Gav. What do you think of NDI? Yeah, listen, Iliman NDI is a very good player. He is. I think people are sleeping on this player because he's playing for Everton, but he's a very talented player, and you can see by the way that NDI plays. Imagine putting him in a team that's dominant and allowing him to isolate in a 1v1 situation, you know, because for me, he's a very good player and he's someone that can play for one of the top 6 teams. I think he's got that ability in him, you know. Again, formerly of Sheffield United as well, but he's someone for me that people need to keep an eye out because he's someone I believe can play for a better team than Everton. No disrespect, because I do think he has got that ability because that finish yesterday wasn't an easy finish on his weaker foot. So, yeah, I think definitely he's one to keep an eye on. You know, I even think if Everton are not doing too well, you know, and he's performing, watch January. You know, someone might put in a bid for him because I think he's that good. You know, I think he's a good player. If Amorim brings Man United to Champions League, it's a bigger achievement than Leicester winning the Premier League. Yeah, big up Arsenal Pakistan cricket team. I can tell you this now, Amorim's not bringing United to no Champions League. He's not. I've seen too much of Ruben Amorim, and I've seen that this guy is quite stubborn as well in a sense of how he wants to play and the players he's picking, to know that I can't see no longevity for this manager at the club. I can't. I think, as I keep saying, you know, these 5 games at the start of the season are going to tell me everything because he's going to be under pressure to to show that this team's moving in the right direction, you know, and the 5 games he's got are not easy games. You know, even Burnley, on paper, you'd say United win that at home, but I wouldn't be so sure because they've just played against 3 teams that are going to probably be in the bottom half of the table, you know, along with Burnley, you know, and can we be confident that United get a positive result against Burnley? I mean, we can't really, let's be honest, you know. Big up to Daniela Iacona as well. Crawley Eagle says, Gav, the reason I think Arsenal will win the league is because they are so hungry for it now. Coming so close and not winning makes you want it so badly. Yeah, listen, Crawley, man, I can hear what you're saying, but I disagree. And the reason I disagree is because, as I've mentioned previously, you look at what the business that Liverpool and what Man City have done. Yeah, Liverpool are showing everyone that they want to win this title back to back. You know, with the business they've done. You know, they've got 4 players into their team that are all starters in Wirtz, Kirkez, Frimpong, and Ekatike. And they're now going for Isak, which again is showing intent. So again, just by default, for me, there's no way that Arsenal can topple Liverpool. So again, that's going to be another season of failure for Arsenal. The business that Man City have done in getting in Reinders, Cherky, and Ait Nouri, again, is 3 players that you would think go straight into their team, definitely. And I'm telling you this now, do not be surprised if Man City make another surprising signing. Well, not surprising, but do not be surprised if Man City make another signing that is going to get people, you know, taking notice. Because I believe City got one more signing in them. And I think they're gearing up for a massive signing. You know, I think I can see them doing that. So, yeah, Arsenal can want it badly. But I think as it stands right now, they're tied at 3rd, I believe, with Chelsea, with the business they've done. Because you don't bring in Madueke and think that you're going to challenge for a title. You don't. You know, if they would have brought in someone that can, you know, at least push Bukayo Saka or get him out of the team, that's more like eye raising, I would say, than bringing Madueke. Because as I mentioned previously, Madueke doesn't come in and start for Arsenal comfortably. Whereas if you bring in someone, you know, that is a starter, then that's how you improve your first 11. And then the player that's starting goes to the bench, which makes the bench stronger. But for me, you're just bringing in Madueke, who's a bench player at Chelsea, to go and be a bench player at Arsenal. Like, there's no improvement there. So, yeah, I'd have to say, man, they can want it badly all they want, but I think personally, it's Liverpool's and Man City. And I think, again, with Chelsea, they're showing their intent. And, again, I don't think they're done with this transfer window either, because they're trying to get a few players out. You know, they're trying to get Xavi Simons in. You know, there's talk about Garnacho, which I just don't understand. Yoro Hato signed last night as well. So, yeah, I think they might make another big sign as well. So, I think Arsenal, for me, they're joint 3rd at the moment, I would say, in terms of... hey, my chat's gone. In terms of them doing anything serious. Let's see. Guys, big up the chat, man, as well. Make sure we smash the like button. We've got 22 likes. If you're in it and you haven't subbed to the channel, make sure you do. And again, guys, smash the like button if you haven't done so already. Obviously, helps the channel to grow. And big up yourselves. Just going to go through some of the questions. I think some of my chats disappeared, actually, as well. Yeah, big up. Lumi says, nobody's lazy, gets to Man United. That's impossible. Yeah, I think when Bruno's coming out with the lazy talk from some of the players, I think it's lazy from him, really. You know, because, as I said, I think players like that need to look closer to home. And the thing is, with Man United, it's not even a lazy problem. It's a quality issue. You know, it's been a quality issue for time. You know, none of these players go onto the pitch and just automatically say, right, we're not going to run, we're going to be lazy. That isn't that. It's a quality issue. And until Man United as a club, as a fan base, address the quality issue, you know, they're always going to be just making excuses. You know, it's not. These players are not lazy. They're not lazy. It's a massive quality issue. You know, and you know what I mean. I'm going to stick with that because again, I've seen it all too many times. You know, this lazy argument is just it's a lazy way of looking at football for me. You know. Yeah, listen, Arsenal Pakistan cricket team. Bruno almost owns the team. When you think about it on the pitch, Bruno's is the chief on the pitch. He is. As I said, he's the captain. You know, he's one of the highest earners. He's the penalty taker, the free kick taker, the corner taker. He literally is Man United at this moment in time. And is there any surprise why the team are in the position that they're in? Again, not all on Bruno, but he's fundamental as to why this team have been failing over the years. Because he's been made, you know, the core of the team. And again, like, there's no surprise why this team is struggling. So Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team says, will Ansu Fati get 14 plus GA in Monaco in your opinion? I mean, to be honest with you, 14 GA isn't really that difficult when you actually think about it. If you're playing for one of the better teams, you know, it ain't that difficult really. You know, if you can get 10 goals and 4 assists, you know, or 7 goals and you know what I mean, about 3 or 4 assists, it isn't that hard to do. Yeah, it isn't that hard to do. So I'd expect him to get that in that Monaco team, if I'm honest. Whether that's going to be enough to take Monaco close to competing with PSG and even Marseille, I doubt it. But I think he's definitely capable of definitely getting those numbers. And again, guys, I'm not sure if anyone's seen Paul Pogba's goal. I think I got a clip of it. I see a glance of it yesterday. And again, it's no surprising. You know, Paul Pogba on his day, man, is for me, is still one of the best midfielders in the world. You know what I mean? He has that quality about him. So, yeah, I see it yesterday, man. What a goal. You know, and I'm just hoping for his sake, hoping for Monaco's sake, that they have a positive season, man. Because if Monaco do anything of note this season, Paul Pogba is going to be crucial to that. So, yeah, man, what a player. Yeah, big up to Toxic Fiery, man. Yeah, listen, bro, it's appreciated each and every time, man, you coming through, Toxic Fiery. So Lumi says, Gav, keep an eye on Toxic Fiery. J Toxic Fiery is consistently turning up with good knowledge and he's helping promote the channel. Would make a great mod. Yeah, listen, you know what? I don't just make mods just for the sake of it. You know, if you're turning up every time, you know, and you're giving good promotion to the channel, then again, as a reward, then obviously I'll make you a mod. So yeah, man, just keep your support coming in, J Toxic Fiery, man. It's much appreciated and it's not going unnoticed. That's for sure, man. But yeah, big up yourself, man. 100%. Big up to Lumi as well. Gav, will Liam Delap play more than 20 games in your opinion? Yeah, he's going to play more than 20 games. It's just whether he's going to have 20 starts in the league. Because the way that João Pedro started his career off at Chelsea, you know, Liam Delap's going to have a tough time getting starts, you know. But he will definitely play 20 games, you know, whether it's starts and subs combined. So he'll definitely get that. But as a starter, you know what I mean? It's going to be one of them things that who knows? Who knows? Because João Pedro at this moment in time, you'd have to say is the first choice, and rightfully so, for what he done in that Club World Cup. You know, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, Lumi, listen, even if Baleba costs 80 million, you go and get him. Again, the fact that people are saying he's going to cost 90 mil, 100 mil, how do you know that? Like, this is what I'm trying to get to grips with. Because Bryan haven't come out and said he's going to cost that amount. And it's just people speculating to say that he might cost that because of what happened to Caicedo. But if Man United put a bid in, let's say of 60 mil, 70 mil, and it gets rejected, then fair enough. Like, at least you know where you kind of stand. But they haven't even done that. But then people are just saying he's going to cost 80 to 90, 80 to 100 million, which again is just speculation. But I've been banging on about Baleba since the start of the summer, how he's a crucial signing. So the fact that United haven't even been linked to him, and they think they're going to go into this season with that midfield the way it is, good luck, because they're going to find out very soon, you know, that it's going to be another failure of a season for me. Yeah, guys, come on, 22 likes. Let's at least try and hit 30 now. Minimum target today was 20, so big up yourselves for that. So again, if you haven't smashed the like button, just smash the like button. And again, sub to the channel. Big up to all the mods as well. Bilal says, teams cut through our midfield like knife through butter. Bro, listen, if you see the gap between the midfield and the attack, it's an absolute joke. And then when you've got the likes of an ill-disciplined Bruno Fernandes that goes everywhere, there's no surprise why the team are getting cut through. And let's get it right as well. This system, the way that Amarim plays, those two in midfield, you need to have energy and discipline, you know, which is why he plays Ugarte, because Ugarte's got energy and he's got legs. Kobe Manu in this system, you know, the manager's doing a disservice to Kobe Manu, because Kobe Manu, as we know, hasn't really got an engine. He hasn't. You know, Kobe Manu is just a cultured footballer. He's very good on the ball. But again, if you want a player like that, play them high up the pitch. Because playing Kobe Manu as a central midfielder in this system, you're killing the guy's confidence. You know, so why this manager hasn't even identified that is a problem. So, as I said, there's going to be more misery for this team going forwards. You know, because yesterday's game against Everton, an Everton team that, let's be honest with you, ain't a great team. Everton were the better team for the majority of the game. So, yeah, it's mad. It's mad. But, yeah, that midfield, I agree with what you're saying, Bilal, man. That midfield is a massive problem, and it has been. So, against Arsenal, City and Chelsea, if there's no improvement in that area from signings, you're going to see the same thing. You know what I mean? Lumi Rain says, Gab, what trophy would you most like to win, including the Club World Cup? For me, I think it has to be the Premier League title. And the reason I say the Premier League title is because the Premier League shows consistently who is the best team. You know, you got 38 games in the season. And if you're top of the pile at the end of the 38 games, you've deserved it. So I'll say the Premier League title. I mean, Champions League, a lot of it is based on the draw. You know, if you get a good draw, even though it's changed a bit now, because I think a good format is you're playing better teams, which is what I want to see personally. But I think in terms of the Champions League, I think that takes secondary for me to the Premier League title. I think once you conquer the Premier League, I think that's when you can start going for the Champions League. But Man United are in, at this moment in time, they just need to get back into, you know, a top 6 battle before they even start talking about Premier League and Champions League. So, but I'll say Premier League, because the Premier League shows that you are the best team in that league consistently. So that's what I would say. Big up to Nick for coming through. Yeah, big up, man. Guys, if I've missed some of your chat, okay, it's because obviously the chat's disappearing because there's loads of comments in there. So, yeah, I can't even scroll back up to see some of your previous chats. But big up yourselves for coming through, as always. I'm just going to go through. Big up to Luke Green as well for coming back through. Luke reckons Brighton are dark horses. Yeah, I'd go along with that as well. But when we're saying dark horses, I think Brighton top 10, I would say. I think the way this league is now with the competition, I don't know if Brighton break into the top 6. You know, they've lost João Pedro, who was arguably one of their best players, their best forward. Baleba's still there, but could he move? I don't know. They've got decent players, Matoma as well. But yeah, I think Brighton top 10, I'd go as far as say that's a good season for them, you know. Um, what's your opinion on Sesko? Should you not sign him? Yeah, listen, I don't want Benjamin Sesko. I've made it very clear since that United were linked with him. You know, I think Sesko's a good player, but throughout the whole summer, you had a lot of Man United fans saying United need to go and sign a proven goal scorer. Even though I disagree with that, because if you're getting wide, if you've got wide forwards in Mbuemo and Cunha, you don't need to go and get guys. Sorry, bear me 1 minute. 1 minute.
Hello, mate.
Hi, mate. You okay?
You?
Cheers. You're not too bad. Okay. Cheers. Sorry, guys. Delivery, man. So I think personally, yeah, when you've got wide forwards, you don't need to go and get a number 9 striker that gets goals. You know, I keep mentioning this. So the fact that they're going for Sesko, who got 13 league goals in the Bundesliga, you know, is madness, really, if I'm honest with you, because it's either you want to go and get someone that's either Premier League proven or is a proven goal scorer or is a facilitator. If you want a facilitator, you've got Joshua Zirkzee there. You know, if you want Premier League proven in terms of being a facilitator and getting numbers, Mateta, Vissa, Ivan Toney. But to think that United are going for Sesko, who again, what is Sesko? I mean, Sesko's better than Rasmus Højlund, but that isn't hard, you know. But to think that Sesko is coming in, I mean, what do these fans what are they expecting from Sesko? That's what I would like to know, because if he can only score 13 league goals in the Bundesliga, what makes you think he's going to come to the Premier League and get above those numbers? You know, these are the things that need to be asked. But yeah, my opinion on Sesko, you know, I don't think Sesko's shit, but I don't understand why United signed him and for how much he's going to cost as well. So, but again, he's got to choose between Newcastle and United. So we have to wait and see what happens there. So Broderick says, Ahmad right wing back works so much better. We need more than 3 attacking options on the field. But again, Broderick, the problem is I don't want to see Ahmad being one of the wing backs, because Ahmad has so much quality. He needs to be displaying that in the final third. And the fact of the matter is, in this system now, he may look better as a wing back, but this is the problem. You know, he's looking better in a position that really he shouldn't be playing. You know, and this is why this system for me is a negative, you know. So yeah, big up to Matthew Pridden. So guys, again, man, all your comments are disappearing. So if I do miss your comments, apologies, but a lot of you are putting comments in there, and big up yourselves. So it's disappearing. So I'm gonna just try and go on to the ones that catch my eye. And again, guys, if you're new in here, sub to the channel and make sure you smash the like button as well. We got 23 likes in there. Let's at least try and get to 25 if you haven't smashed the like button already. So Matthew says United could have got 100 million for Bruno, and man says, no, I want to stay and help you. Yeah, listen, an absolute disgrace, you know. And again, I don't really blame Bruno for this, surprisingly. I blame Ineos, and I blame, well, I say I blame Ruben Amorim. Amorim's obviously a compatriot of Bruno, and he's going to want to keep him. But I blame Ineos, because Ineos should have taken it out of the manager's hand, and they should have forced Bruno at this club. You know, the fact that Bruno stayed now, and the likelihood of them getting 100 mil again for this player, you know, I can't see that happening again. And you're now lumbered with a player that's going to turn 31 come the season, and the man just shoehorned him into the team. So it's creating its own problems, you know. So yeah, biggest problem was Ineos not forcing Bruno at the club and taking it out of the power of the manager. You know, so that has to go down as a a negative in their column. Big up to Gunners fan as well for coming through. Big up to Billy Piper. Billy Piper, man. That's a name I ain't heard in time. Oh, what? Barcelona playing now, Bilal? Big up, man. They're playing now, yeah? Big up to Chef Bailey 187 says we need a midfielder. 100% we do. 100%. As I keep saying, man, the fact that, and again, I like Mbuemo, I like Cunha, but the fact that two midfielders wasn't prioritised is a problem because, again, it wasn't prioritised because this manager thinks that Bruno's the answer, and you're going to quickly find out that he's not. So the fact that, that wasn't prioritised is a massive issue. You know, Carlos Baleba, Douglas Luiz, you know, even Edison, like these guys should be at the forefront. So I just don't know what's going to happen now with this midfield because, yeah, it's a massive problem going forwards. So Billy Piper says Hoyland needs to play for me he's my favourite. Billy, big up for coming through to the channel. At this point, though, I'm not sure if you're a troll because Rasmus Hoyland, if you think he's the answer for Man United, then I'm sorry to tell you, he's not. He's not, man. As I said, this guy's the worst striker in the league for one, and for two, the quicker United move him out of the club, the better, because you know I'm not going to waste my time on Rasmus Hoyland because you know those of you that have been watching the channel for a while now, you will know my thoughts on Rasmus Hoyland. And as I said, a striker that cost 72 million and his showing last season was 4 league goals tells me all I need to know. So, yeah, he needs to be at the club as quick as possible, man. So Matthew says Ahmad will be Man United's main man for this season. I agree. I say I agree. He should be. He should be one of them. But we just don't know this manager's thinking. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. You know, but Ahmad's a very good player, man. He's one of Man United's most talented players, you know, 100%, if not their most talented player. Big up Lumi. Now, Lumi, listen, I think we've had 30 likes on the channel before, so we've only got 23 at the moment. So 30 likes is the most we've had so far. So again, if you haven't smashed that like button, make sure you do. Big up yourselves. Right, guys, I'm just going to go through some of the comments. We're going to wrap up in a bit. And, guys, we'll be back at 6 o'clock with Jonas. Obviously, Jonas is a Liverpool fan. So those of you that are new, we're back at, as I say, 6 o'clock with Jonas. And we're going to discuss, obviously, his thoughts on Isak. Obviously, Darwin Núñez, you know, subject of interest from AC Milan as well. So, yeah, if you guys want to come back through at 6 o'clock, obviously, check out my schedule. So we'll be back at 6 with Jonas. Make sure you guys come through and give us some support as well, guys. Much appreciated. Big up to Irfan Kedali as well. Yeah, listen, Amorim doesn't rate Manu, Matthew, you can tell. And I think it's very clear when he brought him off yesterday, because he could have taken off anyone. You know, Ugarte should have come off before Manu. You know, people might say it's because Ugarte is more defensive. But the fact that Manu come off at half-time, it just shows you that this manager doesn't really rate him, because he doesn't really start him anyway. So, Irfan says, I need Carlos Baleba and Adam Wharton. Yeah, listen, Adam Wharton's a very good player. And as I said, we've talked about Adam Wharton before. Wharton's not leaving Palace this summer. You know what I mean? I think next summer is more of a possibility. But no doubt, man, a Carlos Baleba and a Wharton midfield is for me, would be a great midfield for any team. And I fully expect those two players, whether it's this season or next season, to be playing for one of the big teams, if it's not Man United. So, yeah, this is the problem. So Bilal says, bloody breaking news, guys. Sorry. Southampton rejects second Everton bid for Tyler Dibbling. listen, I wanted Dibbling at Man United. If he goes to Everton, I'll be shocked. You know, but he's a very good player, Dibbling. But yeah, listen, the manager's not going to fit in Kobe Minu. So this is what I'm trying to say to you. We have to look at this manager's actions, and he doesn't rate Kobe Minu. Kobe Minu is only playing really because he's come through the youth, and the manager has to be seen to be giving, you know, a player that's rated highly by the club a chance. The manager clearly doesn't want to play Kobe Minu. He doesn't. So Kobe's not going to start come the beginning of the season. He's not. He might get game time against Fiorentina, but the first game of the season against Arsenal, he'll be on the bench. I'm telling you this now. He don't rate Kobe Manu. It's obvious. So Matthew Pridden says Ugarte was a world beater under Amrim at Sporting as a defensive mid. Matthew, I disagree. And again, this world beater talk is being used on the wrong players because Ugarte was no world beater. He was just playing in a team, a functional team, and because he's the ball winner, it looked good. But at Man United, you know, Man United as a club are expected to be on the front foot, expected to dominate possession against the majority of teams. And when you've got someone like that in the midfield who isn't press resistant, who isn't good on the ball, you're going to be giving the ball away more times than not. So the fact that he's in the team for his energy and his legs just shows you the problem that Man United are having, because Man United need players that are first and foremost good footballers, you know. And if you're a good footballer and you got legs, you know, and you can break up play, even better. Look at Moises Caicedo, for argument's sake. Moises Caicedo has got the legs, he breaks up play, but most importantly, he's a very good footballer. And this is what Man United need in their midfield. Not a Ugarte that is only effective when United haven't got the ball. And this I'm trying to say to you. He's no world beater. He's not. He's nowhere near being a world beater. And there's a reason why PSG sold him to Man United. If you look at PSG's midfield now of Vitinha, João Neves and Fabian Ruiz, they're all press resistant. They've all got legs. You know, they're all very good on the ball. And Ugarte doesn't fit that mold. So this is the problem. You know, and Man United now have him in their team, having spent, 60 million on him. And there's no way he should be starting in this team. So this is the problem. Big up to Chris and Mark as well. Guys, I'm just going to skim through some of the chats. We're going to wrap up in about 2 minutes. Big up yourselves for all coming on as well. As I said, guys, we'll be back at 6 o'clock with Jonas. So make sure you guys come and join us at 6 p.m. For your Liverpool and Man United talk as well. Yeah, Bilal, I agree, man. Casemiro does need someone better next to him. He does. Casemiro and someone else that maybe has the legs but has the quality would work a lot better. But I think if you put Bruno next to him or Ugarte, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You know, Kobe, for me, needs to be playing high up the pitch as well. So, but again, I mentioned this earlier in the chat, you know, earlier in the stream, sorry. I said Man United need to go play a free in midfield, you know. If they play a free in midfield where Casemiro can play slightly deeper, you know, as the anchor, and then have two more attacking midfielders, it'd be better for the balance of the team. I'm telling you. But this system, expect the misery to continue, you know. Now, listen, Ahmad's not going to move on, Jay. He's not going to move on. He's just signed a new contract. So he's not moving on. But the question marks I have is that when you've got Mbuemo there now, and if he gets up to speed with his fitness and the manager's reluctance to drop Dallo, where does Ahmad fit in? This is the problem. This is the absolute problem, you know. But let's go through some of these chats. Big up to Caitlin. Yeah, big up Caitlin for subbing to the channel. Big up. So Caitlin says, people forget Joe Gomez is class, just doesn't have the chance because Ibu is great and Virgil is the best in the business, plus good. But Connor Bradley could play centre-back and Frimpong right-back at worst. Yeah, but big up Caitlin as well for coming through. But Caitlin, what I would say is that you are one injury away to a Kanate or to a Van Dijk from having to play Joe Gomez. And the thing is, Joe Gomez is very versatile. You know, he can play right back, left back, and centre back. But would you be happy having Joe Gomez partnering, let's say, an Ibrahim Kanate for the rest of the season if Van Dijk was to be dealt a serious injury? These are the questions that have to be asked because Liverpool are very light at the back, and I think it's an issue if they think that they can just go into this season with at least signing another defender, you know, because as we know, Van Dijk's had a serious injury before, and hopefully he won't get another injury. But all it takes is a serious injury to one of them two, and you're playing Joe Gomez. And do I think Joe Gomez, you know, consistently can be what Liverpool need to sustain another title challenge? To sustain a title defence? I doubt it very much. But yeah, big up for your comment anyway. Right, guys, I'm just going through some of the chats and before we wrap. So if I've missed out some of your comments, as I said, apologies, but there's quite a lot in there, and I just want to pick out some of the ones that have stood out. So Niche Fan says Rasmus is completely pointless. I agree. I do agree with that. So Niche Fan says Sesko isn't happening and Anthony won't do anything but go on loan to Betis. Completely out of order. But again, why is Anthony out of order? Like, at the end of the day, you know, he's been forced out the club, whether it's right or wrong. And if it's a case where he doesn't want to go anywhere else but where he wants to go to, it's down to him, really, isn't it? At the end of the day, so it's not really out of order, you know. Yeah, Lumi, big up, Lumi, big up for coming on as always, guys. As I said, we're back at 6 o'clock, so make sure you guys come through at 6 o'clock with Jonas as well. So me and Jonas will be on at 6 o'clock, Liverpool fan. So yeah, if you guys are free, make sure you come back. But guys, listen up. We're gonna wrap up anyway. Obviously, we've been going for a little while, and as I said, we'll be back at 6 o'clock. Guys, if I've missed some of your chats, as I said, apologies for that. You know, but there's quite a few on there. Again, if you're in there and you haven't subbed to the channel, make sure you do. Make sure your notifications are on as well to see when I go live. And as always, make sure you smash the like button. Guys, when you hit the like button, it helps the channel be seen by more people. So if you're enjoying the content, as I said, it's much appreciated. And make sure you check out my other content. And guys, make sure you vote as well on the recent polls that I've been doing. So give out my posts a chat. Give my posts a check. And make sure you vote as well, and let me know in the comments as well what you think. And as I said, big up to all the mods, big up to all the newcomers for coming in. We're gonna be back at 6 o'clock with Jonas, so make sure you guys are there for that as well. And as always, keep your comments coming in and your questions, and keep your support. As I said, it's much appreciated. And yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys back at 6. Take it easy.